my name is Gabby and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, then welcome to my channel, and today's video is going to be my November TBR. This TBR is going to be a mix of some of my previous TBRs, but it's also not at the same time, because this TBR is incomplete and it's flexible, and my most I will be reading this book this month book doesn't fall into that category, but we'll get there. The content warnings for everything that I talk about today will be linked down below in the description, and let's go ahead and get into it. First up is going to be Blood Like Fate by Liselle Sambury, which is the sequel to Blood Like Magic. This is a debut that follows our main character who is given a task to sacrifice her first love in order to save her family's magic during her calling, which is a trial that every witch must pass in order to obtain their powers. This is one that I didn't get a chance to read in October, mostly just because of the length and how long it took me to read the first one. But my interest in this book is still strong, it still exists, so it's here. And I do think that once I get into this book, I'll fall back into the world and fall in love with these characters all over again. I just have to actually start it, and hopefully that'll happen this month. Because it should be good, and I need good books in my reading life right now. Things have been pretty lackluster overall for the past few months, and we need to turn that around. Next up is going to be Fake Dates and Mooncakes by Sher. This follows our main character who wants to win the Mid-Autumn Festival's mooncake making competition in his mother's memory so that its on-struggling Chinese takeout business can get the publicity that it needs. He then meets a rich, handsome stranger who convinces him to be his fake date to his family's wedding in the Hamptons. Their worlds could not be more different from one another, and our main character finds himself falling for his fake date and just caught up in a lot of rich people drama. And he has to navigate the approaching competition while also trying to follow his heart and not get sidetracked. This was in my summer TBR because of how cute and fluffy it sounds, but it does take place in the fall, so I feel like this is the more correct TBR for it. But otherwise, the cute and fluffy thing is just as relevant. I really want something cozy and short in this TBR, and this book should definitely provide that. Next up is Foul Lady Fortune by Gong, which is one of the sequel books to These Violent Delights. I forget what actual book it is in the series, but I'll put it up on the screen. These Violent Delights is a Romeo and Juliet retelling that takes place in 1920 Shanghai. There are rival gangs and a monster, and our main character has to team up with her first love, who was also her first betrayal, and together they have to set aside their guns and their grudges in order to stop all of the mayhem. This is another one that I do feel like has been unfortunately falling out of my TBRs due to the length, but I miss these characters, I miss this universe, and I need this series in my reading life again, because I love them to a level that I haven't loved in a book series in a really long time. Like a couple of things here and there for sure, but this is like when I first started getting into reading type of excitement for them, which I love, and I need to feel that feeling again. I am slightly nervous about the character and the focus shift in this book, and I am slowly but surely admitting that to myself, but it also just sounds really fun, and it still takes place in the same universe, so it should be completely fine. Next up is Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. This follows our main character who is on the run from the cult that raised him so that they don't get their hands on the bioweapon that they infected him with. When he gets cornered, he gets rescued by a group of teens from an LGBTQ+ center, and he meets their leader who knows our main character's darkest secret about the bioweapon. Which is fine, as long as he uses that power to defend the center, but it isn't long before our main character realizes that this leader has a few secrets of his own. If October lasted like one more week, this definitely would have been read by now. And I know that this book does have some horror elements, so I am kind of sad that that didn't happen, but nonetheless, I am still really excited to get to know these characters because I feel like I'm going to really love them and any and all found family elements. I also really love this cover, and it's really attracting me to books that also have this kind of style of cover. But yeah, I really like it. I don't think I've said that yet, so I'm saying it now. Next up is Skip and Loafer by Misaki Takamatsu. Skip and Loafer is a romantic comedy that follows our main character who comes from a small country town but is chasing her dreams in a Tokyo high school, where she finds out that the social norms of city high schoolers are more out of her element than she originally thought. I mean, this one is here just because it's like a guaranteed, fun, comfy, heartwarming, inspiring reading experience. And I say that because that's exactly what the anime was for me, and more. I miss them a lot. I did almost pick this series up in October, but I held off because I can't think of a less spooky series. But my plan is to binge all of the volumes in a short period of time, which I feel like I always say with manga, and it never happens, but hopefully this time it will. The last two are going to be books that I've already started, the first of them being the Summer of Bitter and Sweet by Jen Ferguson. This follows our main character who is working at an ice cream shop with her ex-boyfriend who has only ever made her feel discomfort, and also her former best friend who disappeared 3 years ago. She was hoping that her biological father would stay behind bars for the rest of his life. However, everything changes when she receives a letter from him insisting that she meets with him. And when her family business comes under threat, she realizes that she actually cannot avoid him forever, no matter how much that she wants to. This is one that I started in the summer. I'm currently on page 130. I unfortunately didn't finish this before the spooky season, which I'm still mad at myself for, but at this point I just want to finish it summer or no summer. I've also just really loved what I've read from it so far, and what has stood out to me most about this book is just its depiction of anger. There's a lot of really dark things going on, and you see those things understandably weigh on our main character throughout the story. This is definitely not an easy read at all at times. I also thought that this book had a really nice summery atmosphere, which I loved for when it was summer, and I'll probably still love even though it's November. And this next thing that I'm about to say is not something that I thought I would ever be saying, but I really love the blurbs at the top of the chapters about ice cream. Like, those are kind of 5-star worthy just on their own, but I do think that the rest of this book is well on its way there too. And if not 5 stars, at least a high rating. And the final book in this video is going to be You Exist Too Much by Zaina Arafat. This is told throughout different vignettes and follows our main character's life as she feels caught in between sexual, cultural, and religious identities as a bisexual Palestinian American woman. This is one that I'm actually listening to on audiobook. I want to incorporate more audiobooks into my reading life moving forward. But yeah, that's why it's not like physically here and just up on the screen. There's a lot of misinformation being spread right now, and a lot of hatred, and a lot of assumptions being made, and just people just taking advantage of a terrible situation, which is all really gross, and the violence has all been so devastating. And reading own voices is always going to be nice, it's always going to be important, but right now, in a way, it does feel extra important. This is one that I've been seeing get recommended quite a bit, so I wanted to check it out. I'm pretty sure it dives into like the historical context of everything along with the modern day. I also do have some resources that I've been posting. They'll still be down in the description of this video. One of them is a post that does contain some book recommendations, and I do think that it's a really helpful post if you need recommendations like I did, and I will definitely be referring to it and post like it moving forward. Okay, so that is all that I have for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and answer a question that'll be around here if you want to do that, and hopefully I will see you here next time. Bye!